I recently received a comment on one of my YouTube videos that unintentionally summarized my exact philosophy on minimalist living. I mean, it perfectly captures what I believe about creating a minimalist life that feels authentic and true to you. Here's what that comment said. Ronald, I first came across you when I decided to live a minimalist life, but I made the mistake of thinking minimalism has a look. So, without realizing that, I chased the look, and that left me dissatisfied and slipped into my old ways. Now, I know my core values, and I live by that, and I'm happy to admit that I am a minimalist who loves bold colors and textures, and that's totally okay. The thing I love about this is that it reflects something that I've been saying for a while. Minimalism isn't about a perfect one-size-fits-all look, right? It's about aligning your space with your values and embracing a lifestyle that feels true to you, whatever that may be. I mean, there's a reason why I say the same thing at the end of just about every video I create. Stay true to you. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today, right? How to create a minimalist life that actually feels like you. Now, I've been practicing minimalism myself for a decade, and my home has looked and felt different at every stage of this journey. But there's one thing that I have progressively gotten better at over the years, and that is ensuring that my space feels like me without all of the clutter. Minimalism is often sold as this perfect, picture-worthy lifestyle, right? You know, the white walls, the neutral tones, the sparse shelves, right? But when you start chasing that look, you may find yourself feeling, disconnected, right? Now, maybe you're trying to create a minimalist vibe in your home right now. It's the reason you're watching channels like this one about minimalism, decluttering, maybe some interior design channels as well. But instead of your home feeling calm, it just feels flat, right? Almost like something's missing. Here's why that happens. Your environment doesn't feel like you. See, what a lot of people are missing is that minimalism is not just about the look, right? It's about the feeling first. And this isn't talked about at all, right? Everything that revolves around minimalism tends to favor the aesthetics, the look, how to achieve the look for less, etc., right? But when you stop aligning your life, your actions, your environment with your core values, when you don't do that at all, you run the risk of turning minimalism into a shallow, unsatisfying trend. And unfortunately, this is the version of minimalism that has been popularized everywhere. You know, the Pinterest blogs, the YouTube channels, the advice you see in all of the decluttering guides. Even in some of the designer magazines. Now, I will say that interior design and minimalism through that lens deserves a conversation of its own, right? Maybe we can tap into that at a different time if that interests you. But everywhere, this version of minimalism is being popularized. But here's my hot take. I believe social media is the primary problem. Social media in particular has played a huge role in shaping this narrow view of minimalism that's well curated, monochromatic, full of IKEA hacks to get the look for less, right? It's all very inspiring, isn't it? It's entertaining, it's picture perfect, it's peaceful, right? But here's the problem. Two things. Number one, majority of the content we see online only shows or tends to only show minimalism through one lens. Clean, curated, simple, monochromatic, well organized, clutter-free, right? And I used to do this a lot with my old thumbnail photos. I knew that images like these would trigger curiosity. They felt inspiring, right? They showed off the minimalist look, quote unquote. However, when I started receiving comments like these, where people were asking to see a tour of my home or expressing how they felt that my space was too empty or too sterile for their liking, I started to realize something. All of these comments focused on the look of my space with very little understanding of the deeper context or the values behind it And it's not the value that I want to provide, right? I don't want to just talk about or show the perfect image, right? And I'm doing that in order to give you the necessary clarity to get the results that matter on this journey, right? Not just a quick dopamine hit of inspiration and quick tips, right? The second issue is when we try to replicate what we see online in our own home, it starts to feel fake. And again, no one talks about this, right? I mean, yes, you may have decluttered. Yes, you may have gone out and invested in some of those simple and neutral items that are supposed to feel minimalist, right? Organizing in a certain way, buying containers that look very cohesive from the front, very clean from the front, right? All of these things are supposed to feel minimalist. But if your home doesn't reflect your values, it won't feel like you, right? So instead of mimicking the trends or chasing the perfect look, here's what you should do instead. Be yourself. Now, I know that sounds pretty vague, right? So what does that actually mean? Be yourself. Let's unpack this. When minimalism works, it aligns with your deepest values, right? I like to tell people that your space should reflect who you are, not who you think you should be, right? Your fantasy self, right? And so minimalism isn't about the look or chasing the look, right? It's about creating a life that feels focused, intentional, free from distractions. And the benefits of living this way are deeply transformative. And you know this, right? It's why you're on this journey. But to make minimalism truly yours, you've got to connect it to what matters to you. And so forget about perfecting decor for a moment, right? That's a waste of time, especially in the beginning of your journey. Instead, think about perfecting your life by focusing on what matters to you. And when you start from this place, minimalism becomes a tool to design a home that is not just beautiful or well curated or clutter-free or organized, but also meaningful. And I'll give you an example. If you look behind me here, you'll see a few things on this dresser, right? In the corner there, you'll see a rubber plant. Now, rubber plants are one of my all-time favorite plants in the world. I just love them. This is the second one that I own. We have another one downstairs that we bought as a baby like this, and now it's well over 8 feet. I love them. But next to that, you will see some artwork. This is art that my brother created. My brother's an artist. He creates mixed medium art, and this is something he created for our home. It is one of 3 pieces. The other 2 are on this side. You can't see them, but I chose to display this one behind me intentionally. Now, this artwork, on the face of it, there is a shield with a lightning bolt, right? Now, the meaning behind this artwork is why I chose to display it here. Again, I'm very intentional with these things. On the back of every piece my brother creates, he writes the meaning of what the piece represents. Guess what this one says? A spark is a spark. You decide the outcome. Right? Okay, moving on. Next to that, you'll see 2 books here. There is The Kinfolk Entrepreneur, Ideas for Meaningful Work. This book is a direct reflection of me right now on my clarity journey. I've decluttered my life to prioritize my core values, and now I'm pursuing meaningful work in order to honor the things that are important to me. I want to create work. I want to pursue a career that allows me to prioritize my values, the things that are important to me, right? So The Kinfolk Entrepreneur, Ideas for Meaningful Work is a direct reflection of who I am in this chapter of my life. On top of that, I have my journal. Now, I'm a huge advocate for writing. I've talked about writing. I love writing, poetry. I advocate for it. I'm a poet myself, right? I've published poetry books in the past. And so my journal is sitting there as well. And on the face of that journal, there is an owl. Owls are my favorite animal, right? And then behind me here, if you can see that, there is a speaker. This is a speaker that my wife and I had it on display at our wedding. But the reason this speaker is here is because a few reasons. Number one, my family enjoys listening to music, very jazzy, calm music. We also like to have dance parties every now and then. But we're also something recently that we're doing now is we're trying to intentionally create analog spaces in some of the key areas in our home where we spend the most time, right? And we can talk about the importance of having analog spaces in a separate video, but that's the reason this speaker is here. And so sometimes my son will join me in this space in my office here. He'll sit in this chair. He has this little school app or this search and find puzzle book that he will work on, and we'll just listen to music. will vibe out as I'm working. And that is intentional, right? Now, from the outside looking in, when you look at my home, you will see a minimalist home. You wouldn't know the things that I've just told you. But when I walk into this space, into this office, and I sit down at this desk to work, to create, it is the details like that that make this space feel like me, right? It's the details like that that give this space meaning, that makes it feel meaningful. And that's what matters. So, how can you create something like this for yourself? How can you create a minimalist life that actually feels like you and not a life that is mimicking someone else's environment or the tips you've read somewhere? I have 3 steps for you. Write these down. Number 1, identify your core values. Now, you may have heard me talk about this before, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. I'm going to hammer this point home and preach it until the day I stop making videos, because it's that important to me, right? There are so many people that I have spoke with, interacted with, observed that do not know what their core values are. They just don't know. They don't think about them. And so I am challenging you and I'm asking you to identify your core values. What really matters to you? Is it peace? Is it creativity? Is it family? Is it something else? Why are your values what they are? Why are those things important to you, right? I mean, it's easy to say, okay, yes, I value family. I value creativity. I value traveling. But what does that mean? How is that reflected in your life? What does that look like for you in real life? How is that being projected into your environment, right? We have to intentionally think about these things, and we have to intentionally identify what our core values are. Now, for me, my core values are simple: integrity, faith, family, and creativity. These are the 4 structural pillars in my life. Now, everything that I value falls within one of these 4 pillars. Every decision I make is supported by one of these 4 pillars. Every action, everything, how my environment, how our home is designed is supported by one of these 4 pillars, right? So what are your core values? Spend some time identifying what they are, why they are what they are, and how that's being reflected in your environment today. Step 2, evaluate your space, right? Look around your home and take mental note of what aligns with your values and what doesn't. What's supporting the things that are important to you and what's pushing you or pulling you away from those things. Just take mental note. And step 3 is to design with purpose. Now, this is something that I talk about inside of my paid membership community, Clarity Lab. And this is a community full of professionals, creators, and clarity seekers who are all committed to simplifying life, creating meaningful work, and prioritizing what truly matters. And when I talk about decluttering in particular, there is a 2-phase approach that I stand behind. Phase 1 is the practical sort. And the practical sort is all of the advice, the typical decluttering advice that you see everywhere. If it's trash, get rid of it. If it's a duplicate, get rid of the duplicate. If it's broken, get rid of it. If it's a just in case item and that just in case moment has never come, get rid of it. If you can replace that item for less than $20 and less than 20 miles away or in 20 minutes, get rid of that item. All of the practical things that you hear about decluttering, that's the practical sort. But the core values filter, on the other hand, this is where your minimalism journey becomes personal. This is how you create a minimalist life that actually feels like you. And it's filtering your space through your core values. Asking yourself again, what are my core values? What's important to me? And then removing anything that doesn't support those values, that doesn't pull you closer to the things that are important to you, that doesn't support the things that are important to you. And instead, they're pulling you away. They're pushing you away. They're making it difficult to honor the things that you say are important to you. Now, there are some nuance and some steps to how to do that, but those are for the members inside of Clarity Lab. Now, here's the thing that I want you to take away from this video, okay? You don't have to follow the rules of minimalism to the letter. Instead, focus on living authentically, and your space will naturally start to reflect your true self without all the clutter. And if you do that, my friend, right? If you identify your core values and honor those things that are important to you, and like I said, filter your space through those values, then you're going to create that minimalism look, that look you're after. But it's a look that represents you. It's a look that feels like you. It's a space that feels meaningful. And that's what matters on this journey. Keep growing and journey, my friend. Keep learning. And always remember to stay true to you. See you next time. Peace.